May 12 is observed as International Nurses' Day. It was on this day that Florence Nightingale, the Lady with the Lamp, was born. Nightingale was born on May 12, 1820 in Florence, Italy, the city which inspired her name. The younger of two daughters, Nightingale was part of an affluent British clan that belonged to elite social circles. Nightingale was provided with a classical education, including studies in mathematics, along with German, French and Italian. From a young age, Nightingale was active in philanthropy, ministering to the ill and poor people in the village neighbouring her family's estate. Nightingale eventually came to the conclusion that nursing was her calling, and she believed the vocation to be her divine purpose. Determined to pursue her true calling despite her parents' objections, Nightingale eventually enrolled as a nursing student in 1850. In 1849, Nightingale refused a marriage proposal from a suitable gentleman, Richard Monckton Milnes, who had pursued her for years. She had explained her reason for turning him down. She had said her moral active nature called for something beyond a domestic life. In the early 1850s, Nightingale returned to London, where she took a nursing job in a Harley Street hospital for ailing governesses. Her performance there so impressed her employer that Nightingale was promoted to superintendent. In October 1853, the Crimean War broke out. Allied British and French forces were at war against the Russian Empire for control of Ottoman territory. Thousands of British soldiers were sent to the Black Sea, where supplies quickly dwindled. By 1854, no fewer than 18,000 soldiers had been admitted into military hospitals. At that time, there were no female nurses stationed at hospitals in the Crimea. After the Battle of Alma, England was in an uproar about the neglect of the ill and injured soldiers, who not only lacked sufficient medical attention due to hospitals being horribly understaffed, but also languished in horrifying unsanitary conditions. In late 1854, Nightingale received a letter from Secretary of War Sidney Herbert asking her to organize a corps of nurses to tend to the sick and fallen soldiers in the Crimea. They had also been warned of the horrid conditions there. The decisive and wise Nightingale quickly set to work. She procured hundreds of scrub brushes and asked the least infirm patients to scrub the inside of the hospital from floor to ceiling. Nightingale herself spent every waking minute caring for the soldiers. In the evenings, she moved through the dark hallways carrying a lamp while making her rounds, ministering to patient after patient. The soldiers, who were both moved and comforted by her endless supply of compassion, took to calling her the Lady with the Lamp. Others simply called her the Angel of the Crimea. Her work reduced the hospital's death rate by 2/3. In addition to vastly improving the sanitary conditions of the hospital, Nightingale instituted an invalid's kitchen where appealing food for patients with special dietary requirements was prepared. She also established a laundry so that patients would have clean linens, as well as a classroom and library for intellectual stimulation and entertainment. Florence Nightingale died peacefully in her sleep in her room at 10 South Street, Mayfair, London on August 13, 1910 at the age of 90. As the whole world fights today COVID-19 and faces the fatal pandemic, Indian nurses have become angels for the world. Europe, America, Gulf countries, Africa, everywhere Indian nurses are serving with compassion, undeterred, without caring for their own lives, despite losing many companions. On International Nurses' Day, we salute every nurse in every country who is serving humanity with unconditional responsibility, care and supreme compassion.